Hi everyone, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to share with you a way to look at living and a way of what I call, borrowing from Marian Woodman, dying into life with Death Doula Oracle, which I will also show and share my thoughts on. As you know, I really enjoy depthful discussions of tools such as Oracle and Tarot decks, and I especially like when content creators talk about what their thoughts, particularly in-depth thoughts about a particular tool. So I'm doing the same because that's what I enjoy and that's what I want to see more on YouTube. So let's talk about death today. And what do I mean by dying into life? Are we really dying into life, or are we actually living a life? Death is a topic that's of a deep fascination to me because, one, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm naturally drawn to the death. And two, I have an interesting relationship with death, not only because I was in a position to dance with death literally when I had cancer and when I was really sick at the age of 16, but also because I have a really interesting relationship with letting things go, which is part of death, and not being too attached to things. My husband is constantly mesmerized by the fact that I can take an item that in a moment feels very precious and special to me and immediately gift it away to somebody else. This is just something that I always had. I live with no regrets, and I have no problem giving away things, detaching myself from things, including when relationships end with people, I move forward in my life. On the other hand of that, I am also terrified and scared of the reality of death, even though I understand that it is my egos that are scared. So there's this interesting duality happening with me, especially as somebody who at such young age as 16, really being on the brink of dancing together with death. I think it's really interesting to have that type of perspective. Death is also further interesting to me because of the works that I do as a psychologist working with transgender folks. I feel like I'm helping them die into life. So, dying into life. First, I learned about dying into life from reading Marian Woodman book, Bonds, which is her biographical account of going through cancer and about her discussion of understanding of life as a result of it, and also using imagery and using dreams and reflections in order to help her heal and to get through this process and to make sense through this process. I enjoyed this book obviously because it sat very closely to me, and being a cancer survivor myself, there's a lot of things in this book that I really could resonate with. But Marian in this book mentions dying into life. And the way I understood this and the gift that I took away from this book is that we really think we're living a life, but truly we are dying constantly back into the life. And if you think about it, that's actually very true, because part of us constantly dies. Part of us, even on a cellular level, our cells constantly die and rejuvenate, but also on a spiritual level as individuals. We constantly gain new perspective, broaden our worldviews, and as a result, we grow. And when we grow, it's inevitable that there's going to be a part of us that is going to die with that growth. And we're actually are dying in the life. And it is learning how to die daily, hourly, minute by minute, in this lifetime that is so important to all of us. Learning how to die. Just listen to that. Isn't that beautiful? Learn how to die. Now, death is huge metaphor, huge archetype, and can mean so many things to so many people. But really, how can we learn to die every single day? I think that's really powerful. Reading this book and having cancer myself, one thing that I learned from having cancer is I learned to, no matter what it is that I'm afraid of, if I really want to do it, I learned to go for it and do it and not to hold myself back. That was the biggest gift cancer gave me. Reading this book reminded me of that gift. It took me back to that. One of the things I always ask myself when I feel like I'm in limbo in my life is, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? What would I do if I was not afraid? And I encourage all of you to ask yourself that question because it's a very powerful question. Dying into life, in my opinion, requires being an active participant of your life. If you know me and if you know my content, you will know that I love active way of using tarot and oracle cards. I love pushing ourselves to get out there and do stuff versus just pondering them and intellectualizing them and thinking about them. I'm a strong believer that a lot of things in life happen when we are actively in it, when we actually step there and do them. Whatever it is we want to do, and I held back by fear, it is incredibly important, I think, to push ourselves to still get out there. And this is what I mean when I say I help my clients to die into life, because they're literally dying as they are becoming more in touch with their authentic gender identity. And as a result, their old self is in a way, is chipping away and moving away. So active is, in my opinion, the best way to grow and the best way to learn about yourself and to evolve and to push your evolution, which is, in my opinion, is limitless as human beings. Another book that I feel is the best book that talks about, it describes to a T death archetype, is Hemingway's Death in the Afternoon. When I was in grad school, I decided to write a thesis paper, one of the thesis papers, on bullfighting and relationship with the bullfighting to our unconscious. And I went on through this rabbit hole of reading pretty much a lot of texts that I've written on bullfighting. And this one remains to be one of my favorite. This is also a beautiful archetype of a death energy, death symbolism. In here, what I took away from this book, if you haven't read it, is reminders that the dance that a matador performs with a bull in the arena is a dance with death. It's not that the bull represents death, it's the whole process. The dance itself is a death, potential death dance. And when you step in there, you don't know how things are going to go. You don't know if you're going to win. Well, now they're, of course, unfortunately, and you learn in this book, even a long time ago, they are meddling with bulls and they're sharpening their horns, which, by the way, messes with their perceptions. But it's really interesting if you put a bull that has all full right and has not been messed with to fight and a matador, then it becomes an equal opportunity dance. It becomes an equal opportunity for each to claim each other's life. It becomes a even playing field, if you will. So I'm not talking about, by the way bullfighting is done today as a sport. It's really not the way it used to be done in all traditions, where they really honored the bull and they did not mess with the bull in order to tilt the scales to make the matador a winner. Very different. So if you're against bullfighting today, I totally agree with you. And I'm talking about a different thing. The image that we get of arena and a matador with a bull, in my opinion, represents an image of life. We are constantly dancing with a bull every single day without realizing it. Waking up and getting in a car and driving is a dance with a bull, because things can happen. Walking to work is a dance with a bull. Sitting here recording this video is a dance with a bull. Every day we wake up and we're in that arena, this dance, and we're dancing with it. And fortunately, in the end of the day, we win and we get to go to bed, and then we get to play that roulette over and over again. But we don't notice that because we, as human beings, have got so detached from death and got so attached to the idea of ourselves as autonomous and the idea of ourselves as superior, the idea of us as if we are immoral, the idea of ourselves as if we're going to live a lifetime and nothing will ever happen to us. We've forgotten how to dance with the death every single day. And if we could just allow ourselves to remember, what will happen, I would guess, is we would really start sitting in the now and really enjoy the present moment and really slow down our life and really start appreciating what really matters in this life versus everything else we do. But we've forgotten that. So for me, this is a beautiful metaphor that every day I dance in arena with a bull, and the dance is life. Life is death, and I'm dying into life so that I can learn how to live. It is going through all the things and shedding the skin that I'm learning how to live. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. This is where the idea of actions come in. You have to be active participant in this dance. If you go into this arena every single day, and instead of dancing with a matador, which represents risk, opportunities, things you want to take on but you're afraid, things you want to try on, things you're dreaming about, things you want to change about your life, things you want to destroy in your life. The bull can represent so many things for you. But it's by being active, by going there and confronting that bull. If we sit on the sidelines and passively observe the bull, observe that which we thinking about, we are dying and not in a good way. And we're not dying into life. We're dying into, I would say, decay. We're decaying. We're slowly decaying. Now, some of you may say that there is also active passivity, which is absolutely there is. But I'm talking about sitting day in and out, looking at that bull, that which you want, that which you desire, that which you're afraid of, and constantly drawing cards about the situation again and again and again, and not actively doing something about it. To me, that's the passivity I'm talking about. This is where Doula comes in. Now, I first saw this oracle on somebody's YouTube channel. I'm so sorry I don't remember your name because I'm not subscribed to this person and I just randomly saw this. When I saw this Doula, I didn't really think it was for me. And I notified Natalie from Sanskrit's Blue because she actually is a live Doula. And I said, Nat, I think this is the deck for you. And she has a review of this deck that I really encourage all of you to watch. And then I ended up getting it for myself as well. Now, sorry, I'm looking for the booklet for this because I wanted to, oh, here we go. Oh, sorry. Okay, so how is this deck connected to what I'm talking about? As I said, it's all about actively being there and dancing with a bull versus sitting on the sidelines. And this is a very active deck. And I will show you cards too. I really like the booklet. So you get, and the creators of this deck, I believe one of them is actually a Doula. It says the Doula Oracle is meant to engage and influence the subconscious of the reader through interpreting the images, words, and practices associated with the cards. So you get the cards, you get description, and then what I like in the end is almost a lot of cards pretty much have a ritual in addition to that you can go to the back of the booklet and look up, and then you can do the ritual. So it's very active. It makes you do things. And the cards, let me show you cards. And the cards that don't have, look at this. This one is thrombosis. Yeah, thrombosis. What an interesting keyword to choose. And the cards that don't have a ritual have an active description. So this is this one card called a ritual. First of all, the cards are stunning. And I'll link below where you can get the deck and you can look at all the specs, cards, measurements, etc., etc. I pulled this one yesterday, and it was interesting how it read for me. I've been reading with this deck for 2 weeks now. And it has been really interesting. There is one, for example, card I picked on a particular day where I was thinking about that which the card represented. This deck is a great way to help us die into life because it tells you, it beckons you to act, it beckons you to do things, unless you're going to choose to completely disregard and not do the ritual at all. That's, of course, your prerogative. I think this deck is really best suited for people who are new to their spiritual growth, who don't have spiritual practice set up, who are looking a way to connect to themselves on a deeper spiritual level, but who are in a way beginners. For example, the ritual card that I pulled yesterday talked about the ritual associated with it was to set up some ritual space, and I have quite a few spiritual spaces set up in my house. This deck, I think, is also really good for people who have lost touch with the spiritual side of self and who need an active push to go and act. Like with everything else, when you get a deck that is active, and I think pretty much every tarot deck is an active deck if you wish to see it that way, because it is definitely all of the tools are active. Like with all other active tools, you have to be able to actually do them. A lot of times we want to act in our life, and we, in a way, what we do, we shorthand ourselves. We tell, well, I did this tarot reading, so I am being active, but that is very different than actually now embodying what you read. What we actively doing with tarot and oracle when we sit down, we're doing an intellectual act. We're acting in an intellectual, cerebral way. But what about acting in a physical way? What about embodying that which you draw out? So I think becomes very important, and this deck is really good and helpful for that. Now, I am not a stranger, nor am I a novice when it comes to spiritual practice. I have a very, very, what I would call rich and depthful connection to my spiritual practice. Nonetheless, I've been really enjoying this deck because it has been really taking me to places. This is a card called Magic. You can't see because the way the light, but there's a black font there that says Magic. And it was interesting because I was a few days, probably like sometime last week, I was drawing card, and I drew a magician card from Tarot Vampires, and then I drew this card, and I thought, well, it's not a coincidence. I have literally double magic times 2. And I was curious, well, what does the ritual say? So I read the ritual, and the ritual said, do some research on some of the magical practices of school, Queeria, which is coincidentally, I just interviewed amazing Josephine McCarthy from Queeria, and then it said Google Selima. It listed some of the different branches of occult branches to look into. And doing that, I did actually start to search. I took my active process seriously. It led me to remembering that about 3 or 4 years ago, I purchased a 13 months coursework from, it's called Black Rose Witchcraft. And I think I started it and got bored because like all the courses always start with breath work and meditation, which bores me to fucking death. I never finished it. But doing the research, I realized, oh shit, I have 13 months of coursework sitting somewhere. And so I looked it up and I found all of the classes. And it was interesting because I also noticed myself as I was searching, feeling ready to really go through the discipline, not as in-depthful as Josephine's Queeria class, but the discipline nonetheless. So it just was perfect. This card became, the way I see that the rituals in this text described they are a doorway. They're almost like little breadcrumbs. Yes, breadcrumbs. They're breadcrumbs that will definitely lead you somewhere if only you really follow. You have to really follow. This card, I just remembered this card. Oh, it's so beautiful. And the cards are really beautiful. I know that the way the camera is picking up doesn't do them justice, but I'm usually not a fan of kind of abstract type of images. This really does it for me. I don't know why. This one, the ritual. This one I drew yesterday. Now, I have told myself I'm going to start Black Rose Witchcraft 4 series today on Monday, starting with the first breathwork exercises. And I have a journal for it. It's, the whole 9 yards. I'm extremist. I'm always polarities with me being a Scorpio. I'm either doing the whole 9 yards or I'm not doing anything at all. It's one or the other. Balance and middle ground has never been my thing. So I pulled this card, and apart from talking about having like an altar for ritual, it also talked about how ritual is a form of discipline. And I thought, yes, I need to really decide, apart from just deciding tomorrow I'm going to start doing meditations, what time tomorrow? Be very specific with this ritual. What time tomorrow am I going to do it? I wake up at 5 a.m., gotta have coffee because I know I'm going to fall asleep without the coffee. So, and I first thing I do in the morning is I read a book. So can I do it at 6 a.m.? Okay, so 6 a.m. every day for 20 minutes, that is going to be your ritual. You're going to sit down and you have to do it. So again, the cards have been really very precise in what's happening in my life. And you have to follow the breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs are almost there. They're active tools to give you something. So I would, if you're interested, if this sounds like your cup of tea, I would recommend it. If you have this deck, let me know. I love this card stack. I don't know what the quality of the card stack is, but Natalie did the same thing. I think she likes to put it in for you. But you hear when you shuffle it, it has chalk, almost like chalk sound. What card stack does it? I really like the chalk sound. So anyhow, this is Death Doula. I link it below, and I will recommend because I think we all have to find ways to die into life. We all have to find ways of embodying life by learning how to die and let go. I also have Starhawk new book on dying. I think it's called Dying Portal. It's on death and death rituals. And I'll read that. And if I think it's really good, I will definitely mention it on my channel. Because I know that a lot of you are interested with this also process of death. We all know that it's so important and so integral to our lives and to our sense of self, in a sense of evolving as human beings. So I will definitely mention that if that book turns out to be good. But if you have this deck, let me know. And let me know, what are your thoughts on death? What are your thoughts on this idea of dying in the life? And how do you die into your life as you go along? So comment below, and I will see you all next time. Bye.